have been called. I must answer. Always.
Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about where is Hytale? In the year 2525, Hytale's been announced for the 5th time. Hello there guys, and welcome back to Jamble. Today we're going to be talking about Hytale and the state that it might be in, and our predictions on the game and everything around Hytale, because it's been such a long time. I just want to talk about Hytale a little bit. So before we get into the video, all I ask is not to attack anyone who works at Hypixel Studios. Oi! Don't you dare attack them. I know where you live, Jimmy. Yeah, you. And also do your homework and subscribe. But on a serious note, seriously, don't attack them. They're lovely people. I mean, look at this hat. They gave me the hat. You know, so don't attack them. So the last news that we got about Hytale's development was on the 1st of July, where Hypixel Studios announced that Hytale wouldn't be ready before 2023 at the earliest, and that the game had been delayed. This led a lot of people who were excited for the game into a frenzy of confusion and frustration, myself included, because of the statement that the game was aimed to be playable by 2021. The community who are waiting for Hytale and were excited for the game's release was very certain that we would see something in 2021, whether that was a trailer or some gameplay, and what we got was a trailer from Riot Games talking more about Hytale and what led them to partner up with Hypixel, and how Hypixel Studios transitioned from a server in Minecraft to a full-fledged game. So the confusion here is, why did Hytale go from playable in 2021 to being ready to launch at 2023 by the earliest? Well, what I personally believe is that Hytale is in a state known as development hell. So what is development hell, and why do I think that Hytale is experiencing delays and pushbacks? Well, development hell is a term that describes a project which is delayed for a long time and has issues that prevents the game from coming out as quickly as it was originally planned to. These long development cycles can change a game drastically too. It can also lead games turning into something completely different to what was originally planned. The most iconic game in development hell was Duke Nukem Forever, which took a whopping 15 years to release. And if you look at the 2001 trailer of Duke Nukem Forever versus the 2011 trailer of the game, they are two different games. This can be the impact of development hell, that a game which was announced gets drastically turned into something else, sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worse. So how does this relate to Hytale, and why do I think it's in development hell? Well, firstly, let's talk about Hytale Changes, which may have gone unacknowledged. So back in 2021, I did a bunch of videos on the races of Hytale, talking about how we could see more than just elves, and maybe we might see dwarfs or reptilians or something very interesting for the playable races of Hytale. And I took all that inspiration from a single quote which was in the Customizing Your Character in Hytale blog post, which was posted on February 15th, 2019. The quote says, "You'll be able to choose from several other playable races for your Hytale avatar. We'll have more to share about alternative playable races in the future." But in the summer 2021 development update post, we can see that the idea or concept for playable races have most likely been scratched, and now it seems that the player will be able to just change parts of their character to whatever they want, whether that's elf ears or different types of ears or having horns or no horns. You can really change the avatar to be whatever you want, and we can see that from the 2021 development update post, which is good to know that it's clearly changed, and clearly for the better too, because I think it's way better to have just one avatar that you can change into whatever, rather than having multiple different playable races with different attributes. But it's really interesting to see that they completely changed their idea, or at least it seems that way. From having races to now you just have one avatar, more like Minecraft, which the game is based off. And what this really shows us that in Hypixel Studios, they're changing a lot of things that they previously established to us, and this could mean a lot. I mean, who knows what other things may have been changed. I mean, we know that there's been complete reworks to features such as combat. They've spoken about how they reworked the combat from scratch. So is this a part of them being in this kind of cycle where they just want to make sure that everything's the best that could be? And this is why it's also taken longer, because maybe the state that the game was at originally when they planned for the release at 2021 wasn't to the point where they exactly wanted it. And now that they have more resources and more time, they're going to bring the game's quality up just another level. Another hint that Hytale has been in development hell is that the CEO's changed way back when Riot first bought Hytale. So the CEO went from Simon to Noxy. And with that change, we could see that there were a lot of business and expansion changes coming to Hypixel Studios. One of those changes was creating an official headquarters so they could have a place for the company to be based. Now sure, I can't prove that the changes of CEOs had a big impact, but surely it had to have some changes to follow. Especially after being bought by Riot as well. We know that when a company or project gets more money and resources, the most common thing we see is those resources being invested. And that's exactly what happened. Hypixel Studios was trying to hire more talent and employees to help develop Hytale after they got bought by Riot Games, because they wanted to push the project further than they originally planned for. And I remember back just before the delay, many people were pointing out that Hytale had a lot of senior job titles open on their Hypixel jobs page. And this was a red flag for many, because I remember seeing senior game design and thinking to myself, wouldn't they already have a senior game designer? Especially if the game was planned to release in 2021. They also mentioned back in 2020 that with the success of the reveal trailer, they were taken back to the drawing board and they rethought and overhauled some features and systems. Now think about it logically. Your trailer blows up and it gets way more views than you can even predict. On top of that, you've been bought by a massive company that expects big things from your game. And you have a small team, little resources, and a game that you kind of started, but it's nowhere near to being completed or as big or as good as you want it to be in the long run. And now you have all these resources. What's the first thing that you're going to do? You're going to set the time back, you're going to employ more people with the resources, and you're going to work on making this game the best that it can be. And I think that's exactly what we saw with Hypixel Studios. What they had was this gem Hytale that blew up way more than what they could ever predict. You know, getting more views and more attention than what they ever thought a game could. And now they have all this heat on them and the light on them, and they're like, let's go and let's make this game the best that it can be. And they've spoken about this many times. I mean, in their recent trailer, they talked about how they're trying to make the game the best they can be. In blog posts, they talk about how they're reworking things to make it even better than what it was before. And they talk about how they're better than they've ever been at creating games. So it makes sense that they want to delay the game to make it better. On top of that, which also probably played into the delay, is that in 2020 we had World Offense, which caused a lot of their employees to become ill around 2020 and 2021. So when you add all these things together, a new CEO, a headquarters being built, employees becoming sick because of World Offense, and more resources and looking for more employees to make the game bigger and better than they could, it makes sense why the game was delayed, and you can also see why it could have been in this development hell for a while, why they were looking for people and they were trying to expand what they already made to a bigger and better level than before. So what are the pros and cons of Hytale being in development hell? Well, the pros are that the game will be bigger and it will probably be better than where it originally was, and it means that it's going to have more time and energy to add features which could entirely smooth out the game and make the game more playable. It also means that there will be more time for testing and adding more content to Hytale for a better experience for the players. Now, the cons of the delay and why it could be in development hell, and if it is in development hell, the real cons of it being in development hell is that the hype could die down massively, which we're already seeing a decline in the hype than what it was before. And the game could also be very different to what we had expected in the beginning. It could be very different to what we saw in the trailer. Now, this could be a good or bad thing, because obviously if it does change, it could change into something better, but it could also change into something that we didn't really want. Now, I don't think that will be the case, but that is a con of something being in development hell and it's taken a long time to make, is that things are changeable now because players haven't said what they like and what they don't like, so anything could happen, anything could change, and that's scary to think about because many good features that we like could be taken out without us even realizing that those features were in. Now, I personally think that Hytale will be a great game, and I still have a lot of faith in Hypixel Studios, and I am very excited to see what Hytale becomes. I think it's important to remember that Hytale won't necessarily release in 2023 either. We could see a 2024 or 2025 release date, which is something that a lot of people don't want to hear. But it could lead the game to being better than ever. And really, I just want to see this game come out when they're ready and when the game is good. I don't want to force them. I don't want the community to force them or them to feel forced into releasing a rushed version of the game that they're unhappy with. Allow them to really make the game what they want it to be. I also loved the combat that we've seen from the most recent trailer. I mean, look how good this is. The animations, the abilities, and the flow of the combat is amazing. Honestly, you could slap some Doom music over that and it fits like a glove. I truly believe that Hytale will be a genre-changing game, and I always had that stand, and still do. The developers are great, hard-working individuals, and talking with them is a pleasure always, and Hytale is looking more promising than ever. But I do think that in 2021, they were in development hell, and I do also think that where they were really having problems was finding employees, especially because you had a lot of their staff members tweeting out job roles, and I thought that was kind of weird. You know, are they not getting people joining? And I also think that maybe some people who were applying for jobs there were a little bit underqualified, and they're looking for people who can really change the game with a lot of experience. So if you're that person, you're watching this video by chance and you're like a senior game designer, you've been working on a game for 20 years or something, and you're looking for a job, you know, apply there, I guess, because I think they're still looking for some jobs in senior roles. So, you know, a little shout out, go and apply there. And also maybe with a little bit of their business management. They're a new company, and new companies have to learn things from experience. And I'm guessing they probably had new company issues. But I do think that them delaying the game was a ballsy move, and I think it's going to be one that's going to pay off in the end. And I feel like they really thought about it hard and long. No puns intended. And they realised that it was the right decision to make. And in the words of Miyamoto, a delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad. For everyone wondering about the changes on my channel, just know that I've been doing well. I'm just exploring new things, one of them being a podcast, and I'm very excited to continue that, and I just really want to explore more with my channel. So you're probably seeing that my content's maybe a little bit different to just Hytale and other things, but know that I'm not going to ever ditch doing video essays and talking about Hytale or games or, genres that excite me. I just want to talk about different things and really broaden this channel, which a lot of people think is a bad idea because everyone has that whole mentality of you need to stay to a niche, you need to keep in one genre to grow your channel. But for me, this channel is not just about growing it, it's about expressing myself, and exploring different avenues is something that I have always done and always will do, where for 1 second I might want to talk about this thing or that thing, and it changes all the time, and I can definitely see my channel going down that route. With the podcast, it's called Midnight Wonders, and it's a podcast where we talk about many different things, the conversations that you have at midnight, maybe with your mum or your dad or, your friends or whoever you might have those conversations with. We talk about ghosts, God, cults, dinner, whatever we can really talk about or want to talk about, we talk about then. Maybe the things that a lot of people think are weird, such as spiritual things or anything to really do with the things that you like to talk about at midnight when things get a little bit weird. So if you like podcasts and you like hearing conversations about spirituality or God or cults or weird things that have happened in history, pop along. The videos are up. The first video got cut weirdly, so sorry, and it was really, really good, so that is a little bit heartbreaking, but the rest of the videos won't be, and that's going to be continuing every week. We're going to be uploading on a Sunday, and yeah, just pop along and see if you like that podcast. But other than that, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.